So big rumors circling Pedro Pascal on him possibly being Reed Richards for the Fantastic Four. But like I said in my TikTok video, I was kind of more so focused on if they, are really confirming it. If it's super set in stone, like Disney just like posts something that says "Welcome Pedro Pascal" or whatever to Marvel. It all comes down to who's gonna be casted around him, right? Because you can have one good actor, but if you have an actor that isn't gonna have good chemistry with one actor, it's gonna be really hard for the film to be good. A lot of people are really it's a 50-50 with Pedro Pascal. A lot of people think it's like a horrible casting. A lot of people think he'll do great, but a lot of people are kind of in between where it's like this isn't bad, but I think we can get somebody better. I personally think Pedro Pascal is a solid pick. I am kind of on the in between as well because I feel like there is somebody out there that could probably fit the role better, but I'm okay with us getting Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. I'm okay with that. What do you think?
So if it's an official thing,
Right.
um, he's going to be a workhorse
Mm-hmm.
because he's on The Mandalorian, and if Boba Fett gets a season two, he's gonna appear in there.
Yeah.
Um,
It's two projects already with
so
Disney.
I mean, yeah. So like he's gonna be workhorse in it, and then The Last of Us season two on
Yeah.
top of that. So
Could
I
be a
mean,
schedule issue. Could be a
I
big
feel like
schedule.
I feel like all that being said, I feel like he's not, but I think he will be a part of the Fantastic Four movie.
Mm. Yeah.
Where I don't know, but if he's actually is part of it, I don't see him being a main like the main four. If anything, like a villain, not Doom, a villain, because everybody thinks immediately Fantastic Four movie Doom's the first villain. So,
With
like I
rumors
said,
going around, possibly.
yeah. I mean, there's also rumors with Galactus with Javier Bardem possibly playing or
Possibly.
being eyed for it. Actually, that's what it said. He's being eyed to play Galactus, which also isn't. I don't think is a bad cast. I think he would do pretty cool because I mean, but yeah. So when it comes to Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, I don't think it's bad. But
Mm-hmm.
also, like, I agree with you. I do think somebody better could be playing it, I guess. Because Pedro Pascal, he's got range, dude. He's a great actor.
Top notch.
I'm
Yeah.
not knocking him. I'm not knocking that he can master the mind of Reed Richards. I'm not knocking him at all for that. I do think it's just I don't see Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, and um it was kind of like that when he was casted as Joel in The Last of Us. Like a lot of people were kind of like 50-50 on it. And then when he, obviously was playing it, uh, he did an outstanding job.
Yeah. People loved it.
And and then, that's all you see is Joel. You don't see Pedro Pascal whenever he was in that character on that show. So it's like it could possibly be the same thing, but Pedro Pascal is also like a big name right now. So it's like you
Yeah.
won't be seeing it now that if when you look at him, you're going to be seeing just Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I am kind of on the Krasinski, John Krasinski's train with him still playing.
Krasinski Stan. Great.
Well, I mean, I'm not really like big on like, I don't really follow a lot of fan casts. I mean, I see some of them, if they're posted by, certain accounts or whatnot.
A lot of them
And
are
I'll be like,
stupid.
yeah, a lot of them are bad. But
Yeah.
I do know about the Krasinski and Emily Blunt kind of like
That would have been
hype
super
train.
solid. That would have been like,
Yeah. So I mean, I get the hype train and why everybody's kind of tired of it. So, but I mean, I was kind of sold during Multiverse of Madness. So it's like they established it there. I feel like he should move on into the MCU as Mr. Fantastic. I mean, because you think about it, it's the same, also the same actress for Maria Rambeau. So, and it's the same actress for, I mean, the same actor, or the same, yeah, same actress for Carter, Captain Carter, and then, same actor for Black Bolt, even though he had the series that kind of failed. But
Yeah,
I don't know if they still canonize that as MCU or not, but they got the
it's
same actor that played Black Bolt then and there.
yeah.
And even then, I was still sold because he looked so, awesome.
Uh huh.
And even though all their roles were like super short in that movie, they were kind of wasted. Even Charles Xavier was wasted. Um,
Played by the same actor as well.
yeah, I'm still convinced of all of them playing those characters. So I'm still convinced of Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic. I feel like it'd just be really easy just to kind of just move him over into the 616. You know what I mean?
I think it's really weird though, because now that you did mention it, it's like all these like actors have played the same character just in different universes, different Earths, like Doctor Strange. There wasn't anybody else different playing Doctor Strange in a different universe or whatever, right? The only time it made sense for some reason was the Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield looked
Yeah.
relatively different from Tom Holland, and Tobey Maguire looked different from Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield. Just all the way around. But there's a reason why it made sense, all right? Because you know we've already had these people play Spider-Man, all right?
Hmm.
It would have been different if in Multiverse of Madness, let's take John Krasinski out. All right, let's pretend he just never showed up in Multiverse of Madness, and we put Johan Gruffet in there, who played in the original Fantastic Four.
Right.
Right? Let's say that happened, then no one would be saying John Krasinski, or there still would probably be fan casting stands out there for John Krasinski.
Yeah.
But let's say we just got Pedro Pascal, then it would kind of
Yeah.
be like, mm,
Okay.
it is
Yeah.
it is what it is. I guess we just didn't get John Krasinski. So, but that's where it makes sense to put somebody different, right? Because you just brought back an OG in the Fantastic Four, Johan Gruffet, just kind of like you brought back two OGs from Spider-Man No Way Home with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, right? But if you're Marvel and you're gonna have these actors play the same character just from different universes, then you kind of just need to stick with that, you know?
Hmm.
Because I get why a lot of people could also be upset. And this is coming from like a Marvel fan standpoint, where it's like, if Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange could be played by the same actor in multiple different universes, why can't John Krasinski still be Reed Richards just in a different universe? Let's just say he died in that universe, and that's just what it is.
One of those things that are just weird. It's like a lot of the variants will look the exact same, and then they'll have like those few that look completely different, kind of like the Lokis. Like classic Loki wasn't played by Tom Hiddleston, and
Kid Loki was
and
indeed.
then, oh, he was a kid, but
Yeah.
then the President Loki was played by Tom Hiddleston. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like kind of those weird things where it's like they either look the same or they look nothing alike. So
It's weird. It's another confusing thing that is in Marvel, where it's kind of like, well, if this
same with
person can do
DC
it,
too, with like the whole Flash thing. Like where they went through like the different Earths.
yeah.
I mean, obviously because they were all played by different actors, so that makes sense
Uh-huh.
too. But it's still that theme of uh, some have the same faces, some don't, but they're the same exact person. So it's
Yeah.
like,
But that's where it kind of like makes sense. It's kind of like you kind of to have a balance of like uh you know f- fiction and reality, right? The
mhm,
reality is that like in the DC situation, they were all different actors, so you can throw them into that fiction and it still makes sense in fiction, right?
mhm.
But it's just confusing with Marvel because it's like it works this way, but it can also work this way at the same time.
But then yeah, and then they're being consistent with one character playing every single variant when it came to Kang, because in the Council of Kangs they were literally all played by Jonathan Majors.
Right.
So it's like you can't cast someone else to play a variant of Kang now because you've established all these characters to look exactly like Jonathan Majors. So
Right.
it's like, even if they introduce Ramatet somewhere, or Immortus, or a Centurion, or even another Kang, or Mr. Griffin,
Yeah.
they're all going to be played by Jonathan Majors because that's how they were introduced anyways. So it's like they have that confusion where like one character is just a consistent actor,
Mhm.
or one actor is one consistent character, but like different versions. And that's where I was getting too with, because in the comics there's also such thing as a Council of Reed Richards. So it's like a Council of Reed. So he's also mastered multiversal travel and connecting with his multiversal selves in the
Mhm.
comics. So I mean, even if they do that, even if Pedro Pascal is Reed Richards, would they bring Eon Grufford back? Would they bring back John Krasinski to like cameo as two other Reeds, and then all of them be Pedro Pascal, or all of them be different actors? Like we don't know that,
Mhm.
but it's that little confusing thing too.
So that's kind of really everybody else's issue as far as like Marvel fans go. As far as people who are just casuals and stuff like that, it's one or the other. They either love the cast or they hate the cast.
I mean,
Right?
you can't please everybody. It's always going to be 50-50.
It's gonna be 50-50. There's probably there's people out there that just didn't like the John Krasinski casting. All right, and it's
And
for
I think it was all the fan casting though that kind of like blew their expectations, like not blew their expectations, but ruined their expectations because they were like annoyed by, oh, I'm tired of seeing Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. Can we fan cast somebody else? And then they
yeah.
put him in the movie, and they're already tired of seeing him in a Fantastic Four suit. But like they also never gave him a lot of you know um
He was kind of a like if you really think about it, he was like a dumb Mr. Fantastic because
yeah, even though he
he
was
sold
smart.
everybody out. Yeah, smartest
Right.
man alive and sold everybody out. So it's kind of like, do you think Marvel did that to just be like, all right, let me just let's just test the water. Let's just see. Like how is the feedback if we listen to the fans and actually cast them? And I
I think a lot
guess
of people were happy. It's just like I said, it's always just going to be 50-50 though. It's kind of hard to tell.
and it's based off of how the performance of that movie does. All right, there's
Yeah.
only so much junk like in that one scene. All right, where it's a very short scene. There's only so much he could do for how much he was limited by. So it's kind of like you gave him a plan that kind of was going to ultimately fail because of the way he was written in. All
Yeah.
right. So you kind of put him at an unfair advantage to be like, here's your script. This is as much time as you got. Try and win a Grammy. And
Yeah, that's the one thing I hated too.
well,
Is like
wait,
the
wait, wait.
fan
Did I say Grammy? I meant Oscar.
Oscar. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one thing I hated too. Though is like the way fans reacted to it. It was like, oh, he's the worst Krasinski. He's the worst Krasinski. He's the worst Mister Fantastic. You know, like John Krasinski's got says Mister Fantastic, but it's like,
Council of Krasinski's.
yeah, but it's like that makes no sense because he didn't even have like, if it was just a Fantastic Four movie and they put him, or even if Reed Richards was just a big part of it, because like I said, he's mastered multiversal travel. So even if he was like a main character in Multiverse of Madness, which would make sense,
Mm-hmm.
um, and he had a more prominent role, I think people would be on board with him. But
Mm-hmm.
because he was so limited and that's all we saw, a lot of people are like, "Oh, he sucks," and that's it. And they don't even people don't like giving chances. They just, if you suck, then you suck. It's like if you're a freaking basketball player or something in your first game and you miss your first shot,
You suck.
you fucking suck.
You
No
suck.
matter what. No matter what, you suck.
You suck.
Immediately you suck.
Especially if they don't know you, you suck.
You suck.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Or even it goes for anything, for football or for anything else.
Anything
If
you do
you
in
if you
life.
mess up the first time, you suck forever,
Mm-hmm.
and you can never redeem yourself. I mean, you can with stats, but then everybody's just gonna be like, you still suck.
You still suck because remember that one time?
Right. So it's the one thing that pisses me off is that fans really go to those lengths to be like, oh my god, he was the worst Mr. Fantastic. It was like he barely played Mr. Fantastic. He was just there to die.
Yeah.
Like I think he did good for the scene where he was talking to to Doctor Strange. I mean, given it was all limited, everything's limited.
Yeah.
His range had to be limited because of the runtime and whatnot.
Uh
So
huh.
it's like it's not like he could do a lot anyways. All he was supposed to do was say what was on the script, and he did.
Yeah. Said
So,
what incursions were. Told Scarlet Witch what her powers, what everyone else's powers were in the Illuminati. Die. That's it.
but really, just one person, and then she was able to just cancel him out.
All right. Oh yeah, yeah. Basically.
But so, I mean, again, I'm not opposed to Pedro Pascal. I think he's a great actor. I just think he would fit somewhere else, maybe like a villain, but not Doctor Doom. Um, I
Maybe.
also see funny things about uh the cast of Sunny in Philadelphia. It's always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I know
The
you're talking
cast of
about.
them, yeah, the cast of them being the Fantastic Four.
Oh
It's
fuck.
like
And
it's like
like a
a
spoof
joke.
movie.
It's like yeah, it's like an internet joke, and I've seen like a few like concept artists mock them up. It's pretty funny.
Hmm.
I was like, Danny DeVito should be Mole Man or something like that, the villain.
I think that'd probably be perfect as if Marvel wanted to just be funny and be like, all right, we'll just throw him as Mole Man, and then it could be that villain in the beginning of the movie that the Fantastic Four easily beats. I
Yeah,
mean, it could you could do shit like that because it's been done before.
but the I will say though, the um the mock-up arts though for one of those actors as Reed Richards actually looks kind of decent though.
Hmm. Which one are you talking
I forget which actor it is. I'll look it up really quick. Um, it's always sunny in Philadelphia. Glenn Howerton.
Okay. As Reed Richards? I mean, he doesn't look too bad as Reed Richards. He doesn't jump off the page right away. But I don't know.
No,
I don't know how his acting range is though. It's not as he doesn't have a deep bag like Pedro though.
no.
If we're going based off look, maybe. But if we're
Yeah,
going
look.
based off,
That's what
yeah,
I was saying because like some of the mock-up arts were pretty good,
yeah.
and there's one I'm looking at right now. It was pretty good. I'll send it to you. Um, but
I don't know though. His range is. I don't think it's as deep.
no. I'm not saying he'd be like a good choice. I'm saying it looks good.